They say performance has an expiration date, but what if they're wrong? No matter where you start, the goal's the same: to be better, stronger, wiser, bolder. We're here for the relentless, those that don't back down, don't compromise, and don't quit. This is training for Masters athletes by Masters athletes, with a community that holds you steady. So say goodbye to random workouts, because whether you're stepping into following a program for the first time or stepping onto the podium, your journey starts here.
All right, team. Here we are. Welcome to the Boulder Athlete Podcast. I am Josh. I'm here with Daniel Dabrowski, and Daniel is a teen games qualifier. And huge congratulations. This is a big deal. Not only you're
Thank you.
going to the games, but you're the first teen I've got to interview here as part of this podcast. So I'm excited about that. Daniel, we've actually met before. I don't know if you even remember, but we'll get into that story in a little bit. So, Daniel, tell me first off, how old are you exactly? I know what division you're in, but what is your age?
I'm 15.
You're 15. Okay. And you have the voice of like a 40-year-old man, deep
Oh,
voice, very intimidating. Okay. Here's what we're going to start with, Daniel. We're going to go with a little lightning round to grease the
okay.
skids a little bit. I've got some fun questions here that I'm excited to get your response to. So, lightning round, we'll go quickly, but if you got a fun story for one of these questions, like let it rip. We want to hear it. All right, buddy, here we go. What is one thing that us old folks are continuously getting wrong about teenagers right now?
I don't really know what older people assume about teenagers my age, but I don't think they're getting anything wrong, really.
Oh, we got them nailed. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good to know. We got it all figured out, just like we thought. Very good. What about like all these slang words that these teenagers use? Like, what's the one you want the adults to stop saying immediately?
Honestly, all of them. I don't really use too many of them myself, but all like the more recent ones that have become more popular in the last few years. I mean,
What's like
even to
what's a popular one right now? I couldn't even fake this. Like, give
Uh,
me one.
uh, right now, one of the popular phrases is like chicken jockey. That's a character from the new Minecraft movie.
Okay.
And
And
so
when is that
if you
used
hear
and
that, that's normal.
what does it mean? Like, use it in a
Uh,
sentence for me.
the chicken jockey attacked you. So chicken jockey is a character.
Okay, okay. I've not yet heard that one. I'm not sure if I will. What app are you using on your phone right now? Not social media. What's the app you're using the most? It's not social media.
I mean, probably be on the whiteboard
Hmm.
or like Roblox because I like to play a lot with my younger siblings.
If you had a theme song for your typical day right now, you could have like background music just constantly going as your daily theme song. What would it be?
Probably like something pretty upbeat that like I don't know what you would think of like maybe like a summertime song. Just like
Okay.
sunny out and it's like upbeat and keeps you going.
You listen to country music at all?
A little bit. Never in the gym, but
Yeah,
it has its places.
yeah. When I think of a hot summery day, country music is what comes to mind for me. What year were you born, Daniel?
2009.
Okay, yeah, you're not probably familiar with the 90s country, unless your dad's a country fan, which is always a possibility. Maybe mom. What dream vacation do you want to take one day?
I mean, for me, I've noticed like I went to Legends last year because my dad qualified, and so that
Hmm.
was in Arizona, and of course that's like in the desert. So that desert scenery, for some reason, I really enjoyed that. So if I could just have like maybe like a little like cabin or a house in the middle of like the orange like sunset desert, that would probably be it.
Okay, I didn't expect that. That's cool. Where do you live right now? Where are you based?
Hoover, Alabama.
What is something that people would be surprised to learn that you're into?
I like to play guitar.
How long have you been playing?
So I've been playing guitar for like 8 years almost.
Did you like take lessons or something you picked up on your own?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I started taking lessons right off the bat, but it started off as like a rock star kind of thing. Not that I wanted to be a rock star, but all I played was like heavy metal music. And so
Oh,
now it's gradually gotten more like not subtle, but it's not like, distortion and it's like go 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 go.
yeah.
It's like a lot more technical like finger styley stuff, a lot of
Okay.
more instrumental.
So did you start on an electric guitar and now you're doing more like an acoustic guitar?
Yeah.
Got a few more of these fun questions for you. Think of movies that you love. If you could be the character in one of these movies, what character would you be?
I mean, Maverick from Top Gun.
Oh, that's a great one. Great
Yeah,
answer.
those movies are the best in my opinion.
Absolutely. The second is honestly, I think, better than the first, which is so difficult to pull off.
I argue with that in my head, which one's best, but
I know. The original obviously has like, it's just amazing because it's the original. You know, you can never do
yeah.
the first thing again, but the second one is so good. I'm a big Tom Cruise fan, and Mission Impossible, the last one is in theaters right now, and I'm dying to go see it.
Have you seen all of them?
Oh yeah.
I wanted to start watching them, but I have to like watch them with my dad and stuff because I want him to watch them too.
Yeah, heck
So I've
yeah.
seen like the first two and I see the trailers for like the new ones, and it's like it makes me want to watch it so bad, but I have to watch all the ones before it, and there's like
Have to.
7.
Yeah, I don't know how. I think you're probably right. There's about 7 of them. Yeah, they're great. We own them all. Every once in a while, I'll throw one in just to have on because I'm a fan. Okay, next couple. Finish this sentence for me.
Okay.
People think I'm blank, but I'm really blank.
Probably like I'm like the big tough guy or something like that.
Yeah, but are you really the big tough guy?
I mean, I can be if you want me to, but I feel like I'm kind of just chill.
Last 2 questions, and then we're gonna start talking some fitness and
Okay.
what are some sources in your life that are really inspiring to you? And that could be people, books, moments in time. Like what gives you inspiration?
Probably the biggest one would be my dad because he does so much, and like, I wouldn't be doing CrossFit without him. But definitely just seeing him do certain things, like we had to fix water in our house, like the water line broke, and so we had to dig up the whole front yard, and just seeing him do things and just take control of situations and like get right to it. And like he's a mechanic, I don't know if you know that, but so he
No.
works on cars, and like anyone has a problem, it's like seems like he fixes it almost immediately, or he knows what, like you call him and he knows what's probably the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like seeing him know something so well and do it so well is inspiring. That's his thing that he is great at, I believe. And then definitely like the big names in the sport of CrossFit, like Matt Fraser, Rich Froning, Tia Claire Toomey, them and their stories that'll get me motivated any day.
Last question. What's a goal that you have right now that's non-fitness related? Is there something you're working towards that's completely unrelated to fitness?
I mean, right now for me, I guess the biggest goal would be like wrapping cars. So like my dad's, he's a lot more mechanical. He can't like body work. I
Mm-hmm.
like to draw, so I like a lot more of the artistic side. So like painting, wrapping, that all stuff seems much more interesting to me than the actual mechanics side of it. Other than that, I'd like to try to make music, not like crazy, like dive completely into it. I just want to dabble with that a little bit because it always comes across as fun to me. But that would be it.
I write and record music, and while it's very time consuming because I'll lose myself in it because I just enjoy it so much, I don't get the opportunity to do it nearly as much as I'd like. But I've got a little, if you can see, like a little keyboard and a mic and a studio there, and this computer that I'm talking to you on, GarageBand is just the easiest place to go and edit up a bunch of things that you record. So if you need an app, GarageBand, check it out. And it started with me just like playing a guitar and singing into a computer. And it picked like these Apple computers, man, they pick up sound quite well. You don't need a bunch of fancy equipment. So easy place to start if you want to get your feet wet a little bit. Sounds like you got the chops already. You just need some equipment to record. So get on it, man. I want to hear something. Okay, buddy. We're gonna shift gears. Thank you for doing that. Good stuff. I love the piece about finding inspiration from your dad. As a dad, I have a son. I think I'd well up with tears if my kid said that on a podcast about me. So I'm sure he will be very proud to hear that. Let's talk a little bit about your childhood. You're 15, so we don't have to go back too many years here. But tell me, like, hey, growing up, like what are your interests? What are you into? And kind of how did your childhood lead you to fitness and like this passion that you clearly have? You qualified for the games. That's no accident. So like how did your childhood shape you for this journey and kind of this accomplishment that you've achieved?
So all my life, really from when I was like maybe like 4 or something, I did sports. It kind of started with like soccer, and then it was like basketball and football. And I didn't really hang out so much with friends that often, at least that I can remember when I was young, because I've been homeschooled almost like since
Hmm.
preschool. I've been homeschooled. And so I was hanging out with my parents a lot. Like I'm really close to my dad and both of my parents, but like my dad in the whole CrossFit world. So throughout my sports, it's like it got to football, and then you get to the age where you play tackle football. And at that point, I want to be like, I want to go to the NFL. And my dad, around there, he kind of started to try CrossFit, like his friend suggested it to him and something. Because, he had a lot of stress. He owns his own business. And so, like, it's a great place to, relieve stress and stuff. He dragged me into it because he's like, if you want to play football, you have to stay in shape. You can't just do whatever you want and play football. After, like, during my second year of football, I was like, so this is like sixth grade. And I was like, this football thing is kind of sucking up a lot of my gym time that I'm spending. And it was weird having that feeling that, like, I'd rather be doing something else, and that thing being CrossFit. But I knew if I were to quit football, I would have to jump full into CrossFit, like as a sport. Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily be in the games or anything, but definitely be like good. And so pretty soon after I quit football, I did HWPO flagship in my basement for like a year. And then in between there, I definitely didn't jump right into Boulder, but there was maybe like a year or less of just doing, there might have been some like mayhem in there, but it was just like 5 days a week. And I started waking up like way early because, he has to go to work. And so my mom didn't, she won't, her biggest issue with it was not taking up family time
Mm-hmm.
for CrossFit. So that meant if we wake up early when no one else is awake, then there's no problem. And so we started getting up at like 4:30 or something, going to the gym. And now in like the past year, we've gotten up at like 3:40 and cold plunge and go
Man.
straight to the gym and then come back for a second session. So like this last year has been like the year of like really trying to be the best that I can be in the sport.
Like that's a pretty rapid evolution to identify that look, CrossFit's the thing. Now, I was introduced to CrossFit much later in my life, and so honestly, had it been introduced when I was your age, I don't know, maybe I would have approached it very similarly. It's really cool that you have that opportunity to even choose
Yeah.
that CrossFit's an option for you. That's really cool. So you clearly decided, hey, that's the thing. You went hard, and now you're all in to the point where you're getting up at 3:40 in the morning, cold plunging, and then going and doing your fitness, and then coming
Yeah.
back in the evening. So did you say this year? It's been about a year you've been doing that routine?
Yeah. The 340, like the cold plunge, that we've had that for, yeah, probably over a year now. But it had always been like we're on it for a few days and then we fall off, and so we would get up at 3:45, but then we were like, we really got to get this in, so wake up a few minutes earlier and get it in, because
Mm.
if when you're training at this level, you have to have that recovery. And so like now we're trying to throw in the sauna at the end of the day, but we're
Man.
still working on that. But
That's really the fact that you guys are doing this together. I mean, I'm just thinking about this right now from my dad's perspective, like how awesome it would be. And my son, I'm not making any pushes on him, but when he comes out into the garage with me, he's 8 and he's like he did like 50 something pull-ups the other day, not straight, but as a part of a circuit. I'm getting
yeah,
excited about what his fitness future might look like. So for your dad to be sharing those moments with you, like you guys just get a bond and build your relationship through fitness in another way in addition to all the great bonding you already do. That is so cool. I bet you. And I got to talk to your dad too. I want to get
I
his
mean,
take on all this, but that's
it's
awesome, man.
all because of him. Without my dad, I would never be where I am today. Never. I probably wouldn't be doing CrossFit right now if it weren't for him. And so, especially doing it at the level that I am, if he didn't do it, because, he does everything with me. So it's like, if he didn't, no one else would be giving me that drive to do it.
So tell me a little bit about like when this first started for you, when CrossFit first started, were you drawn? I think you said you got drug into it, so maybe that's the answer to my question. But was it like, hey, I see my dad doing this thing. I'm inspired by my dad, and did your interest build there and you were drawn to it? Or was your dad like, get up, get out of bed, we're doing this thing together? How did that happen for you?
For me, probably most of it came from him wanting to be good at it. It's a thing where like you start it and after a little while you get like addicted, especially this sport. So like he's wanting to get good at like, bar muscle ups. He wants to be able to handstand walk. He wants to do all this stuff and I'm there with him. Obviously, he's just bringing me. And this is fun. I like this whole idea of the fitness, and eventually it just became more than football was. Like what I really wanted to do, I guess, kind of just came through over what I thought I wanted to do. Him being so driven to do it drove me to do it, and then I realized that I love it.
This is really interesting. Like, so I also played football. I have a major love for football. I played college football, and so I had a long journey of just my football career. Then CrossFit came later. So it's really interesting that CrossFit and football overlapped for you. I wish
Hmm.
that would have been the case for me, honestly, because just I don't know how that would have played out, but it would have been beneficial in some regard. You had mentioned essentially that your love for CrossFit outweighed your love for football, and that drew you in. What was it about CrossFit that you loved? And at some point, like, what was it about football that you loved and ultimately got outweighed? Was it like, I don't know, obviously there's a team element to football, which is pretty
Yeah.
significant. There's less of a team element to CrossFit. Was it more just seeing the fitness and like your body transform? Like, what was the thing that you ultimately said, I like that about CrossFit more than I like what I'm getting in football?
I mean, football, I think ultimately I liked it because it was just a fun game to play. And growing up, it was like if we went to play with friends, it was like we played football most of the time. And so it was this game that I just always played. And I guess I just really wanted to be good at it. But then in like the gym, like my dad always talked about like building your hoodie, like the big shoulders.
Oh,
And
yeah.
not having chicken legs was always a big thing. So I
Yeah.
wanted to just be big and noticing that I was getting a lot better in the gym. Like, maxing out lifts and stuff was fun. Seeing the progress definitely was a big part of that transformation from football to CrossFit.
Got it. Yeah, I can imagine, I'm thinking about like myself when I was your age, kind of seeing how, like, full transparency, when I was 15, muscles was about the only thing I wanted. I was just like, look, I need to put some meat on these bones. And so I was really getting interested in the gym because I knew, I was also getting really interested in ladies at that time. And so I knew that they appreciated muscles and I didn't have them and I need to get them. And so that was yeah, I knew where my motivations lay, but that did draw me into the gym quite a bit at that time. So man, I'm thinking if I'd have had CrossFit, I had a gym, I went to it, I did my thing, but it
Hmm.
wasn't nearly the intensity of CrossFit or the well-roundedness CrossFit provides. It was like bench, squats, the basic. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm It's inspiring to hear that your dad was essentially the source of that inspiration for you. And so now you're all in. You've got this great routine. You and your dad are jamming together. You qualified for the games. Like, this
Yeah.
is a huge, huge accomplishment. So this is your first year qualifying, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me about that. Like, you're doing semifinals. How does semifinals go? You get the final word that you've qualified. Like, what does that moment feel like for you?
Thinking back on it, it felt like it was a question, is this possible? After when I was 14 and did the open, I was like 98th in the open and then I dropped down to like 125th at the end of semifinals. I was like, it's still pretty good being 125th, but it's not qualifying position. And so over the next year, it was like questions, am I doing enough? Is this going to put me over into that qualifying position. And like when through semifinals, that was the most nervous weekend ever, because it's like you don't know how anyone else is doing in these workouts. To see that after all the workouts are submitted and everything, that I did enough work to pass the people that were behind me, obviously, and to be in that qualifying position was like, how? It's like, it doesn't seem like I should be here.
And to accomplish this at 15 years old, it's an impressive accomplishment regardless of how old you are, like whatever your age is. Qualifying for the CrossFit Games, there is so much sacrifice and so much dedication and discipline and hard work and sweat and blood and tears and all the things that is required to achieve that. The fact that you have now a really good sense of what it takes at 15 years old, I'm curious, are you feeling right now like I got many more years of this? Or you're like, I don't want this to be the thing that I dedicate my life to for the next 5, 10 years or whatever. Where do you fall on that spectrum?
I ask myself that question a lot in my head, like quite often. Do I want this to be my like whole future, or like at least the near future? Turning 16, that's like elite men's division without the elite men. That's just the 16 and 17-year-olds, but it's like the weight is the same. That's like a whole nother bar. Like, I feel like this might be an easier division. I don't think that it completely is, but I feel like there's something easier about it. Maybe not, because I haven't competed in any other division. But I know that to qualify next year, that's definitely going to take another level of hard work on top
Yeah.
of what I already do.
Well, in addition, the thing that you can't totally quantify, but you have to start accounting for is you're maturing. Your body is still maturing, right? And so you're gonna benefit from just the natural physical growth that you'll have over the next year, which is going to help level you up, even if you were to continue with the same work ethic that you've got. So there's part of it naturally where I can relate, where you're like, well, I have to do more. I just got to do more. If I want to achieve more, I got to do more. You're in a
Yeah.
unique spot that, you could do the same and still be capable of more, just given the way that your body's going to develop over this next year. That's a cool benefit. I don't have that benefit. I'm moving in the other direction. Okay.
You,
Uh,
you had that benefit at one point.
at one point, I wasn't doing CrossFit though. And my goals were very different. It was like, how much can I bench? How good can I look on the beach? These were big motivators for me, not muscle. I couldn't muscle up to save my life. I couldn't walk on my hands. I couldn't do any of the things I can do now. So yeah, to be able
Those are
to,
all just things that come along with doing it.
right? I know they're cool, man. Those are party tricks. Hey, I can walk on my hands. Check this out. So tell me about, actually, let me go here first. You and I met at Fitness to the Coast.
Hmm.
Kind of. I don't know if we like even shook hands necessarily, so maybe met is not the right term. But we were both at Fittest to the Coast. I did meet your dad, and I saw you competing. Tell me about your Fittest to the Coast experience, because my observation was you were very, very competitive, but something had just gone sideways, and you were not happy about it. But I don't know
Yeah.
what it was. So tell me about what that experience was like for you.
So the whole event really prepped me for the games, or the open and the road to the games, because there are 4 other people there that qualified to the games as well. And I beat out a couple of them. So I was like looking at it now, was like, okay, I have a pretty decent fight. But over that weekend, it felt like everything was going really well. And then the last event was it was like it was devil's press, and then I think pull-ups, chest to bar muscle ups,
Hmm.
if I'm remembering correctly. And so that's like a sprint. It was a sprint workout, whatever it was. It was fast pace. And I had talked to one of the other kids there, and he was saying how he was like excited for this. He is of course like a short, skinny kid, floats over the bar, and he was like super excited because bar muscle ups are like his thing. And so everyone goes off the gate sprinting. And so I'm just trying to keep up with everyone else. And of course, that probably wasn't the best idea, because like after the second to last set of devil's press going into the bar muscle up, I like completely gassed. I was failing bar muscle ups, and I was like, no, like the biggest thing in my mind was, am I going to fall off a podium? It's like, I
You're
really
thinking
want the
about that during
podium.
the workout.
Yeah. And then like seeing all these other kids lunging to the finish line and I'm still working on bar muscle ups. Like I have another set of devil's press left. And it was like tough mentally, but definitely after that event, I was like, yes, you can be bummed out, but like it's not worth it to think too hard about it and be so down
Where did you
over
end up
one
finishing
event.
after the
Third.
whole competition was done? Okay, you did finish on the podium.
Yes.
Okay, I thought that was right. I didn't want to say it in case I was wrong. But so still, it was a great weekend overall. Finished on the
Yeah.
podium. You build some confidence because you outperformed some really competitive people that you're probably going to see at the games. But you also learned some things along the way,
Yeah.
like, ooh, I might need to approach things a little differently. I mean, wrap that up into a package. That's a great weekend. Good
Yeah.
outcome, good learnings. Like you take that. Good for you, man.
Yeah, it
That
was
was cool.
great.
And I really enjoy. Although I only spoke to your dad briefly, I really enjoyed our conversation. He's a super good dude, and I'm hoping, I assume, given your guys' journey, he's going to be at the games, and so I'll get a chance to
Yeah.
give him a handshake when I see him there. Talk to me about Boulder. So you had mentioned, like, it's been, you said, these are your words, a life-changing experience, Boulder athlete. Unpack that for me. What's been life-changing about it?
This again starts from my dad. Is he saw probably like an Instagram post or something of like Jason moving to Alabama and like hearing that he's like the best in the world at what he does, seeing his program, and he was like, I'm gonna try this. And now, of course, we cold plunge, sauna, everything because of Jason. And
Mhm.
he has an impact on my dad, which has an impact on me. Because of Jason living here, we met so many other people in the community, like right off, like really fast,
Mhm.
and everyone in the community doing the same, or most of them doing the same thing. A lot of people have the same goals, not everyone, but a lot of them. And knowing that he's doing it and he's as good as he is and doing the same thing as him, and the community was the biggest part, I think. Because as I did HWPO, I knew like no one else that did that. At just regular box gym. Of course, the community there was great, but it's like I was the only one that ever wanted to be like really good at it. And then Boulder Athlete, the community is just, it felt like better than any other program has really been. And everyone was just so nice. And now they like have this whole thing for all the games athletes from Boulder. And like, I don't know if any other programs that actually do that for their athletes. And it just, Boulder itself made me feel like a lot more welcome and I don't know, special in this whole journey to the games.
That's really cool. I'm glad to hear you say that. It reminds me that it doesn't matter what our age is, we're all human and we share really similar perspectives, honestly. Is what you just said about like feeling really welcome, making essentially you felt special, you felt seen, you felt acknowledged and appreciated. And trust me, I have all those same things. I want that for myself. I want to feel seen. I want to feel appreciated as well. And that was one of the major things that attracted me to Boulder. And now that I'm a part of the team, it is one of my biggest motivators is like, let's help make the community feel seen and appreciated because there is something just so powerful in that. For example, this conversation we're having right now, like this is that. Well, I want
Yeah.
people to know, hey, we got Daniel Dabrowski, part of the community, Boulder athlete, games qualifier, really cool story, inspired by his dad. Like this is just, I want people to hear your story and the story of others. This is really cool. I'm grateful you're sharing this.
Yeah, that's definitely being seen and people wanting to help you out and everything just is the drive to keep going. Because when you do it, and the only person that ever notices much is my dad if I'm just doing this by myself. But just having a community of people around it is a big motivator to keep going.
Yeah, there's this saying that, like you're the average of the five people you keep closest to you. Now, whether that's factual or not, there's definitely some truth in there because you will start to adopt similar behaviors and habits. And, if the people you're surrounding yourself with are incredibly motivated and disciplined, guess what? You're probably going to start to pick up some discipline and some motivation from that group. And if they're the opposite, lazy and lack discipline, you're probably okay with taking on those habits.
That's something that is also great. Everyone else in the community is like they're really trying hard to achieve this thing.
I'm glad you found it. I'm especially glad you found it at a young age. And I'm selfishly glad you found it with Boulder because it's really cool to have you as part of the community. The other obvious thing we haven't talked about is like Boulder, 5 masters, 4 masters athletes is kind of like our tagline. And while that is absolutely true, the programming is so applicable to anybody. You want to get fit,
Yes.
you want to be incredibly competitive, you can be a team, you could be an elite level games athlete, you can be a masters athlete. It doesn't matter. The programming is the programming.
Bolder, not older.
That's right. You don't have to be older to be Alan Boulder. I'm grateful that you shared that. I'm really grateful that you are sharing your story today and that we get to go hang out at the games. Oh, because the other thing is teens and masters are together. Yeah, so we are going to get a hangout. You're going to get to experience the Boulder booth, and we have got some really fun stuff planned. It's going to be an awesome experience, both from a competitive perspective and just to soak up the entire games experience for you at your age, and for this to be the first time you're going to the games. I'm excited to make that special for you and the rest of the Boulder community, and be a part of it and experience it myself. So it's going to be awesome, man.
Hearing everyone hype up the games just is, I want it to be here now.
I know. Waiting all summer
People have
is
to stop
miserable.
telling me about it.
Well, I'm gonna start texting you now and be like, dude, it's gonna be so awesome. It is really cool. I mean, I've only done it once, but it was fun, and I'm really eager to go back. And I know that this is gonna be a very different experience.
I
Daniel,
appreciate it.
thank you for your time, buddy. Thanks for sharing your story. Looking forward to sharing this with the rest of the Boulder
Anytime.
community. Bye,
Thank
brother.
you. See ya.
Team, thanks for checking out the Boulder Athlete Podcast. We are so grateful that you did. Wherever you're watching or listening, please like and subscribe so we can keep bringing you more stories from this great community.